PEDs and MMA. This is a question that I never stop getting asked, and I'm fine with that. I do not mind if you come to me, and I do not mind speaking about it extremely candidly. But it is one of these topics where we know our own. If you want to have what's going to be deemed an expert in the world of performance enhancers, you're going to get somebody that took a level of science classes and mixed that with some biology and majored in chemistry, and then he's going to use words that confuse everybody else in the room as a way of getting himself nominated the smart guy. He's going to talk about nanograms, he's going to talk about picograms, he's going to talk about cc's, he's going to break the whole thing down, and even if somebody keeps up with him, then he's going to go to a whole nother word, such as assay. He's going to do whatever it takes. He'll mention hemoglobin, he's going to talk about hematocrit. He's going to do whatever it takes and just keep on using weird words until somebody can't keep up, and he will then be deemed the smartest guy in the room. Now, there is a truth to that, but I will share with you 100% of the time, not maybe. Use USADA, by example. Very good, not 100%. 100% of the time, Chael's eye test will be right. Not maybe. I assumed that other people in the know had the same skill that I did. Now, other users do. We all know our own. And you guys might be able to relate to that. I grew up in Oregon. Apparently, we're known for marijuana in Oregon. I have never touched, my hand has never touched marijuana. In my entire life, going through college, people come in from out of town. Oregon's this big pot state. They see me. In my entire life, do you want to know how many times I have been asked for marijuana by anybody ever? None. Do you know how many times I have been invited to come out back behind the barn and smoke a joint with somebody in my entire life? Do you want to know how many times that's ever happened to me? None. The same way as I tell you, PED users know our own. That might be something that you could easier relate to. Two people have never had to meet. Ever. They see each other. Okay, I'm a pot guy. He's a pot guy. Let's go link up, see if he's got a joint, and I'll go smoke it with him. I got a lighter. It happens all the time. And I only share that with you is you could have somebody that's really good at science and knows how to look at those assays and can break it down and get in front of a boardroom and put on a nice suit and then confuse absolutely everybody in the room and get somebody convicted for PEDs. Like, you could do that. But you can also have announcers in the fight game, and you can have judges, and you can have referees. You can have all of these people that can do those things, or you could just put somebody in there that's done it, and we would all see the value in that. So I used to be of the mind that the people in the know and doing the testing had the same skill as I had. Now, what they're up against is catching somebody. That's the entire cat and mouse. That's the entire game. But I'm now realizing they don't have that same skill. I've heard many of them speak. Many on the highest level, I've heard them speak. I've heard them attempt to clear somebody that they've already tested positive. That actually happened. A board member went on a public show and said, man, I think this guy's in it. I know we've got the test. I know it says that he's guilty, but I don't think he is. And I remember just being dumbfounded. Oh my God, do you need the test? Isn't the whole reason you tested him because you looked at him and you saw his delts, his upper abs, and his nipples? Isn't that why we did this in the very first place? No, apparently not. And when it comes to PEDs and MMA, I will tell you the sport is so clean. It really is so clean. Now, it's not perfect. It's a game. It's a game with a flawed psychology by the user, of which I used to be, which is, if it's not on the banned list, then it's not banned. There is a technicality to that rule. There really is. Like, if you get a chemist that could change one strand and create something new, of which has not been identified by anybody and was not put in the ban, like, right, you see where this gets really interesting. So the guys that are failing the drug test, they are known, but you've got to catch them. And there's a number of things about the agreements that is not the way that it's advertised to you guys. The first thing that you will need to know is what they are using. The second thing that you will need to know, you will have no idea why I'm bringing this up unless you're in the know, is how they're using it. That is going to lose most of you, but the ones that it didn't know what I mean. Once you figure those things out, you will then get to the third and least important thing about which is when. Now, when you watch people playing this game, and when I went down on this, I ended up getting hired by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Now, hired is because I don't know a better word to use. It was part of my disciplinary action. But my phone rang a lot. And not only did I answer all of those calls, I made a bunch of them. I made a bunch of them to a lot of buddies. And I said, stop. They're coming. They're going to get you. I know what you were told. I know what you think. It's better and it's different now. Stop. Of those people, not one of them caught. 3 of them ended up going down. Not one of them stopped. It's one of those things they thought that they had to be. Now, here's what influenced me. It wasn't losing my license. It wasn't getting suspended. It wasn't. The sport where I was at, team and people are around, this was part of it. You're going to run on this day. You're going to box on this. You're going to lift on this. Go see the doctor on this day. It was part of it. Dana took the bully pulpit. He goes up there with Lorenzo. He goes up there with Travis Taggart. It was the day that they announced that they were bringing USADA. Somebody asked a question that had to do with baseball. Somehow baseball got brought up, use and steroids within baseball, and Dana said, it's a guy hitting a ball with a stick. This is combat where somebody could hurt or kill somebody by doing something secretively that's against the rules. Boom, changed me. Right there. That was the moment. Oh my goodness. Got to look at the man in the mirror. Whoa. I got this all wrong. It was just one of those things, but until you have that revelation, you don't have that revelation. So guys continue to play this game. And guys that are in violation of the eye test but have yet to been caught because there's yet to be an assay out, which all has to do with the time, because they've yet to figure out the administration purposes before they can ultimately get to the substances. They all keep their mouth shut. Now, I got a code too. I know 100% of the time, the same way as nobody has ever said the word marijuana to me because they knew not to. I know 100% of the time. They're very quiet. I could use another comparison. Very smart person, Neil deGrasse Tyson, has maintained that the United States did in fact land on the moon, not because, as a scientist, he had any kind of scientific proof. He maintained that if you were to fake that in a studio in Santa Monica, it would have taken roughly 40 to 70 people, and they could not have kept their mouth shut. And you know what? He's right. He's completely right. That is the single greatest evidence that we know that that did in fact happen. But the same thing comes down to this. We know about the social scientists that people can't keep their mouths shut. And it takes a number of people to pull one of these things off. So is it possible? We got 2 gyms. It is not the old expression of everybody there does it. Back when people would say that, that was a way of getting out of something, but it was never true. It was never everybody does it. It was just meant as a broad stroke, and you could speak that way because the vast majority. We have 2 gyms. It's 100%. There is nobody signed to the Ultimate Fighting Championship, Bellator, or the Professional Fight League that is not in gross violation. Nobody ever says anything. How come? Is it possible? Is it possible to keep a secret to that level? To play the game, to run all the tests, to never get hit because you've somehow come across a substance, a form of administration, and a time that matches up and clears the test? Maybe. Sure. Generally, the most likely and easiest scenario is the right one. But there is something else to be looked at. When those guys come out, they're doing the sign of the cross. They're thanking everybody. They're halfway killing an opponent. They're taking all the money and moving on with the rankings. How are they doing that and still sleeping at night? Well, there is another possibility, which is